Hello, I'm Gary Ray Fraley. I'm a California State Bar Certified Bankruptcy Law Specialist in Sacramento, California. Today I'm going to talk to you about the requirements to qualify to do a Chapter 13. In other words, who can and who cannot do a Chapter 13 bankruptcy reorganization. To do a reorganization, and we can get into the reasons why you may want to do a reorganization, but typically it's to stop a foreclosure, to keep assets, or if you have assets that would be lost in a bankruptcy, to be able to keep those and pay creditors through that reorganization the amount of the value of what's called non-exempt assets. And by the way, most homes now are almost 100% exempt with the brand new bankruptcy homestead exemption here in California. But the three key things to know is, number one, you have to have income. If you are sitting there and you do not have income enough to support a reorganization, all right, now given COVID and loss of jobs, you may not, but you may down the road. When you have income, it has to be sufficient to pay your living expenses, pay any debts that are being paid outside of a reorganization. That might include a student loan that's ongoing over 20 years or something like that. Sometimes they have to go in, sometimes they don't. You have to have enough in there to make the set payments. Those payments will be determined by your income, what you need to pay to cure, for instance, a mortgage, or to pay your car payments through a reorganization where they can be crammed down and spread out. Sufficient to pay income taxes. Property taxes, things like that. If you have the income, then the second thing is what type of individual or entity do you want to have file a bankruptcy? By that I mean you can have personal, you can have husband and wife, you can have a individual that has a small business. What you cannot have that cannot file a Chapter 13 is a corporation, a partnership, an LLC, any type of business that has a separate tax return required for it. In other words, if you are doing business as XYZ Company, well, you and XYZ Company are the same. You're what's called the sole proprietor, and you're perfectly free to use this. And in fact, thousands upon thousands of businesses have been saved using Chapter 13 for a reorganization. Now, if you have one of these other entities, they cannot file. But you personally can file a Chapter 13 reorganization to get rid of your personal liability on those debts. You also may, even if you have some other entity, you may be able to file a Chapter 7 to get rid of this stuff and still operate a corporation, an LLC, a partnership. There are issues with running a sole proprietorship in a Chapter 7 case, and there'll be a separate video on that that'll be shot and up in a few days. Assuming that you have the income, assuming that you're an individual, husband, wife, or doing business as, so you're sole proprietor. If you meet that qualification, then there's a third qualification, and that is that you cannot have more than a set amount of what's called non-contingent debt out there. And that debt has to be, and when I say non-contingent, I'm talking about something due and payable now, or already due, but it's payable in 30 days, something like that. Non-contingent debt, or rather contingent debt, executory contracts. A lease is a typical, most common executory contract or contingent debt. Those can be pulled out of these numbers. But the bottom line numbers are you can have no more than $419,275 of what's called unsecured debt. Unsecured simply means that they don't have a lien on anything. Notice you buy a car on payments, it's secured. If you get a business loan and there's a UCC loan financing statement, that's secured. If you have a house with a mortgage, that's a secured debt. If you have certain liens, those may be secured debts. Property taxes are a secured debt. Unsecured typically are things like credit cards, personal loans, cash call, lending tree, One Main, some other scum puppy of that nature. Those personal loans from friends, relatives, medical bills, those type of things. Those are all unsecured debt. Debts where a car was repossessed would be another one if the car has been sold. So it's called deficiency balance. All of those are unsecured. And you have a cap of that $419,275 debt limit. Now, secured debt, that, like I say, would be liens on cars, liens on furniture, purchase money, liens on those, mortgages on a house, if you have a business building, mortgages on that. Those are capped at a total of $1,257,850. Now, typically when people come in to see me, I rarely have a problem with somebody that's a non-business or running a small business unless they have a lot of properties, houses, buildings, things like that. Rarely do I have somebody that trips the wire on that secured debt limit. It's the unsecured debt limit that can come back and is more often a problem. Most people, even then, do qualify to do a Chapter 13 reorganization. This is complicated stuff. You do not want to do this without somebody that knows bankruptcy inside and out. I recommend that if you're going to do this, obviously don't hire some paralegal that's going to cost you your home, your car, your business, your retirement, whatever. Get a specialist. The best way to find a specialist is to go to the California State Bar website and look up specialization. And you will go to a page and you put your county in and you put the type of specialization. In this case, just bankruptcy is what you're looking for. And it will tell you who in that county are state bar certified bankruptcy law specialists. Now be careful there are a lot of attorneys that say, well, I specialize in bankruptcy. I specialize in Chapter 13. Well, not according to the state bar. The state bar right now certifies a couple of hundred attorneys out there in the whole state as certified specialists. So don't be fooled by people. They may, from their perspective, specialize in that field. That does not mean the state bar considers them a specialist. So be thinking about that. If you can't find somebody in your area, I always recommend not only look at your county, but look up the counties around you and see if there's somebody that specializes in one of those counties. Don't be afraid to go outside the county, look for and get the best. Again, I am Gary Fraley. I would ask you if you would, if this was of help to you, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Also, if you would, I would love it if you would sign up to my YouTube video channel, and that way you can get the latest videos as they shoot them and come out. And I hope you have a wonderful day. Good luck. Stay safe.